The placement of Halo Infinite during this E3 conference actually has me a little bit concerned. So I know I touched on this a little bit at the end of my last video if you guys just watched that. And hell, this video might be completely outdated by the time I get it out, or maybe it's completely irrelevant. I don't know. But I just want to talk about this because the E3 conference today, as a Halo fan, felt weird. Now, I don't necessarily expect Halo to be the sole focus of Microsoft because they have picked up a ton of studios and they have Bethesda, one of the biggest studios, in gaming that has tons of big IPs and tons of big franchises. I understand that, but I thought it was very, very weird for Halo Infinite to almost be jammed in the middle of E3 with very, very little commentary from Bonnie Ross or Joe Staten. There was just that little bit at the start. Then we got the campaign footage, the multiplayer footage, and bam, we were off to other games. And at first I was like, okay, well that makes sense. Bethesda, I guess, is going to be the focus, and then kind of Halo second. But Halo wasn't even the second focused of this event. Not only did other games get a lot more runtime, like Forza got a ton of runtime where they saw a lot of raw gameplay footage and they had more developer commentary kind of explaining what's going on and exactly what you were seeing. Nothing wrong with that at all, but it just makes me worried that maybe Microsoft doesn't have belief in Halo. I could be totally wrong there, I might be reading into nothing, but I just felt like it was super weird to just be thrown in the middle with all this other stuff and then kind of just move on from it so quick. I was really expecting Joe and Bonnie to come back out and kind of talk about the game a bit, and they didn't. They just finished the multiplayer footage and boom, we were gone. Now I understand tomorrow or later today, depending on when I get this video out, we are going to get more Halo Infinite content and we're going to most likely get like raw Halo gameplay footage, but man, it's a weird thing. I don't know. This has me more skeptical and not necessarily worried about the game because the game itself actually looks decent, but it makes me worried about kind of the belief and the trust behind Halo now. Now that necessarily doesn't even matter. As long as Halo Infinite's good, I'm sure it'll still do fine, but today was the opportunity to reach general gaming. Tomorrow when we have the Halo Infinite multiplayer thing and it's over on the Halo YouTube channel, mostly the only people that are going to tune in are Halo fans. Today was the opportunity to show Halo back to mainstream gaming and say, hey, there are a ton of people watching E3. This is Halo. This is the new Halo that's coming out later this year, and you need to play it because it's going to be absolutely amazing. Where instead, Halo just felt like another game. It was just another part of the show. It was like another 4 or 5 minute snippet here and, on to the next game, nothing else. It didn't stand out at all. It just felt like Halo has been knocked down a ton in terms of importance to Microsoft, and the placement of it in this E3, I think, proves that. It makes me really, really wonder if Halo Infinite isn't good, what happens? Is 343 gone? That's a good possibility, but could Halo as a whole kind of just be put on hiatus? Has Microsoft gotten sick of sinking all this money into a franchise that isn't necessarily living up to the hype and the potential of this franchise? I feel like if I was a general gamer from just like the normal mainstream gaming where you kind of just jump from game to game or whatever, if I was watching this E3, I don't even know if Halo really would have stood out to me. I might have seen it and been like, oh yeah, I've heard of Halo, that's the new Halo game, whatever, kind of brushed it off and watched the next game. Whereas Forza's out here getting like 20 minutes of runtime. Bethesda has a good chunk of the conference and all their different IPs, but it seems like Halo and Master Chief himself have fallen by the wayside, which I guess it's maybe just a sign of the times. I guess maybe even as a Halo fan, I need to come around and accept even Halo as a name and a brand doesn't hold what it once did. Whereas before I always thought, sure, Halo as a game hasn't been that amazing lately, but the name of the franchise and the value of the IP still held so much weight that Microsoft was going to do whatever they could to push the game back into mainstream gaming and make it a huge hit again. And maybe that's just not the case anymore. Maybe Microsoft just wants Halo to be another game in their catalog of games to fit along with all the Bethesda games and all the other games that we saw today. Maybe it's just supposed to be another one of the bunch. It's not supposed to be the big main focus anymore, which honestly, as much as I don't want to say, probably is better for Microsoft anyways to have less of a focus on one franchise, because then if the franchise isn't doing well, it's easier to pivot. Whereas in the past, it felt like Halo was the one thing that was still kind of holding Xbox up. I know that isn't necessarily totally true. We always had other first-party games that were big, but nothing was ever as big as Halo back in the day. And now that just isn't the case. There's tons of other Xbox first-party games that are going to be probably bigger than Halo Infinite this year and next year and the year after. I mean, maybe this could have also been a 3-4-3 choice. Maybe they wanted to only show a little bit, kind of show that nice polished gameplay, and then having it as a separate show to really go deep. Maybe they thought that was better, show the really polished, fast-paced, fun stuff to the general public, and then kind of show the slower-paced, raw gameplay, more commentary, more detail to the Halo-specific fans that want to tune in for that. That could also be the case. There's also the possibility, and I'm not going to take full credit for this one, I actually saw a comment in my previous video that kind of brought this idea up, but there is the possibility that maybe the reason Halo Infinite and Halo didn't get that big of a spot at E3 is just due to the fact that it was actually delayed into 2021, whereas if it would have been ready in 2020, it would have been the star of the Xbox Game Showcase, but now this year it's competing with other stuff that Microsoft already knew was going to be shown in 2021, so they had to more make room for it per se, whereas obviously last year if it would have been ready when it was supposed to be, it could have had a much more focal point. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought about the placement of Halo Infinite during E3. Anyways, that's probably going to do it for the video. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. If you guys want, you can follow me over on Twitch, where I stream Halo 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays usually. You can also follow me on Twitter or Instagram. And with that, I'll see you all next time.